Here's 10 things you should know when starting out in Apex Legends Season 20. Number 1. Solo queuing can be difficult, and I mean really difficult. Not always, but a lot of the time it will be. Simply because you may be playing with players that aren't on your skill level, so you may have to try and find more like-minded players and on the same level as you. It's also hard because the game requires a lot of communication, and without it, you can really struggle to get any wins. Communication is one of the biggest factors on this game, so I would always recommend trying to find mates that you can play with, because it should eliminate a lot of the communication problems. And regarding skill, yes, some randoms will be pretty bad, but that may be because they've only just started out, so don't be toxic for no reason. But if you're playing with better players, definitely try to learn something from them so you can continue to improve as well. Number 2 is trying to get the upper hand. Now this can be a couple things. Looking at what colour your opponent's shields are, this can allow you to make a decision to push or hold for teammates, because if you know you and your teammates have blue shields versus someone who has a purple shield, it's far easier to kill them as a 2v1 instead of a 1v1 because you don't know their skill level. Another way of trying to get the upper hand is to know the maps. Knowing the maps is quite important, and I know that they change occasionally for different seasons, but try to learn the map as quickly as possible. For example, I see a lot of people dying on Olympus because they don't realise that a jump off a ledge might result in their death, but it can be used in your favour massively. Number 3, don't camp. Apex is not the game to camp, especially in Season 20. With the way Evo shields work now, there's 5 ways of being upgraded. Firstly, identifying supply drops using a skirmisher that will gain you 50 Evo points. Supply bins that are unlocked by assault and support, they can grant you 100 Evo points. Survey beacons and ring consoles used by recon and controller legends, that will give you 200 Evo points. Then there's Evo harvesters, which award 350 Evo points, and then finally, damage that you dealt will also award Evo points. So that's why you don't want to camp, because you'll be missing out on valuable Evo points and can ultimately lose a game, especially if it comes down to you having worse shields than your opponent. Number 4, learn what the legends do. The reason I say to learn the legends is because it will allow you to understand how the opponent might play that character, and can also allow yourself to be better at the game in general because you have an understanding of all the legends, and can also prevent moments like this.
Oh no! I didn't know that's what that did!
Also with Season 20, because of the Evo upgrades, knowing in advance what to choose to buff your character can also be very helpful. Number 5, test out the different legends. You can do the research on the other legends, but actually using them will give you a far better understanding. I also say to use different legends, because if you have a main, you can come across the problem if you are solo queuing, where you don't get to pick your main, so I would always recommend having 3 legends you can go to and play well with. Obviously, if you're playing with mates, then yes, you should really pick different mains to avoid arguments, and can help you create a good team dynamic if you all have very specific roles within the team. Number 6 is good positioning. Now this is sometimes the most important factor in a fight, because if you're poorly positioned, then it can cost you dearly. You need to work out if you have a good or bad position. Usually this will be if you have the high ground. It can help massively because you are shooting down on your opponent rather than shooting up, which is significantly harder to do so. I've lost so many times because I thought I was in a good position, but they had the jump on me and my squad and completely wiped the floor. Number 7 is to record and watch your gameplay back. Now, I don't expect everyone to have an Elgato to record gameplay, but I know on Xbox you can stream to Twitch without a game capture card, so that's one free way of doing it. There are obviously cheap game capture cards as well. You don't have to use the high-end game capture cards. It's more so you can look at your gameplay and see what you do well and what could be improved. Now, I would always recommend giving it a couple days before you review your own gameplay, because you'll have a clearer head when you come back to it a few days later, instead of trying to react and watch your gameplay immediately after that game. It's also interesting to watch your own gameplay, because you may realise silly little mistakes that are costing you, and if you think about them and remove them from your game, you'll improve tenfold. Number 8 is put your gun away when repositioning and in general movement. Firstly, you'll run faster, that's just basic game logic. Secondly, if you're in no danger, there isn't actually a need for it to be out. Now, mid-fight, it'll be unnatural at first because you're always fearing that the opponent might be behind you. A lot of the time though, you can actually get away with it. Having your gun holstered to reposition faster is far better than slowing yourself down because of fear, and can catch an enemy off guard if they lose track of you. Number 9 is find out what weapons suit your playstyle. Now, for me, I play quite aggressive and very close quartered, so I prefer high fire rate weapons such as the R301, RE45 and the Volt. Weapons like that, in combination with a shotgun, is normally a good combo. For me, I tend to avoid snipers. I just suck with snipers in most games. If it doesn't fit my playstyle, I just avoid weapons like snipers, but I also know that my aim is good enough to use high fire rate weapons up close, and that's why I use them and how I know it's my playstyle. Number 10, know when to use shield batteries, medkits, phoenix kits, syringes and shield cells. The reason it's so important to know when to use these is because it can genuinely change how a fight plays out. For example, if you've lost 2 segments of your shield, it's quicker to use a shield battery than it is 2 shield cells. It saves only a second, but that second can make all the difference in a fight. Then a Phoenix kit takes 10 seconds to use, and obviously to be used when low on health after shields have been depleted. Don't use a med kit and then a shield battery instead of a Phoenix kit, because it takes 13 seconds instead of the 10 seconds of a Phoenix kit, which will get you up to full health and shields and will massively improve how you perform in a fight. But also, I would recommend having more shields and batteries than medkits and syringes. A couple reasons. One, if you have a lifeline, that's the whole role of lifeline, is to heal. And secondly, your shields go down before your health, so it's more important to have shields than health. Thank you for watching this video on tips to improve on Apex Legends. If you have any suggestions or tips of your own, then please share down below, and maybe I'll make a part 2 to this video. But if you did enjoy it, drop a like, hit that subscribe button if you're new, but for now, I'll see you in the next one.